Hey Sam, so the concept I'll be describing for this vlog is postmodernism. Now, postmodernism describes a period of time after modernism, and modernism really has to be understood before postmodernism can be covered. So, modernism was a time in history of great development, a time where society was entering a new phase of uniqueness in basically all aspects. It took place from the mid-19th century to the mid-20th century, and contained major progression in original narratives and texts, as well as things like the Industrial Revolution and progression in science and technology. It is often associated with ideas such as progress, optimism, knowledge, and rationality. During this era of modernism, it was promised that this progress would continue and lead humanity into a utopia. But it didn't. And this is where we lead into postmodernism, which took place from the mid-20th century to about today. Postmodernism is often associated with depression and pessimism due to the failed progress to salvation from the previous era. This led to people being more cynical about progress and life, often now doubting promises that are made to them due to the failure to keep promises from the previous era. This attitude caused people to lose faith in and abandon those which are absolutes, starting to look for other perspectives and opinions. Postmodernism also brings about the globalization of ideas and a free flow of information, which has led to many original works from the modern era being reworked, often using one of the pillars of postmodern pop culture. So the pillars that I'll be talking about are intertextuality and pastiche. These can be seen as postmodern as they are a product of the globalization of ideas and free flow of information that has come with postmodernism. Both rely on the use of previous text to help the viewer understand their text, and with this free flow of information, finding the previous or accompanying text can be much easier. Modernism was associated with original ideas, whereas postmodernism is associated with taking those ideas from the modern era and reworking them, often using one of these pillars. This is the reason that these pillars are seen as a postmodern form of art. Intertextuality involves understanding text through elements that have been borrowed from other texts. Say that an anime character was used in a meme. Someone who doesn't know anime might recognize the meme format and what the meme is supposed to represent, but due to having no understanding of the anime character, would not be able to gain the complete meaning of that meme. In order to understand it, they would need to have an understanding of the other texts and the elements that have been taken from it. Intertextuality also allows for things called Easter eggs or callbacks that will get a response from people who can understand them based on their knowledge of the previous texts. It is used in pop culture to reframe familiar elements that people understand, which has led to things such as archetypes and tropes, a way to convey something to the audience without explanation because they should already have an understanding of it based on previous texts. Intertextuality shows us that no text exists in a void on its own. It is always connected to another text in some way or another. Intertextuality can be seen in the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Scott Pilgrim contains many references to video games, such as the Legend of Zelda chest opening sound effect to opening the door very early in the movie, and the traditional 8-bit arcade style points coming up every time he defeats one of the evil X's. For someone who hadn't played video games before, these references would not make sense to them, and thus they would not be able to understand the movie properly. But for someone who had played video games and had knowledge of these previous texts and conventions, this would enhance their understanding of the movie and make for a much more enjoyable experience. Now, pastiche, as Frederick Jameson states, involves the imitation or mimicry of other styles, particularly the mannerisms or stylistic twitches. While the pillar of parody involves this as well, pastiche is used in a more honourable way, almost paying homage to or celebrating the original text. Jameson states that pastiche, in a world where stylistic innovation is no longer possible, imitates dead styles. This can be seen being due to modernism being the age of original ideas and not postmodernism, which postmodernism being the age of reworking the ideas from the modern era. It is more neutral than parody, not having the satirical impulse or mockery that can be found in parody. In a way, pastiche is parody that has lost its humour and thus lost its ability to make people laugh. An example of pastiche can be found in the video game Friday the 13th The Game, being named after the original movies that it was based off. The game pays homage to the original movies in which it was based off, having gameplay that involves counselors trying to escape from Jason and Jason trying to kill them, following the plots of the movies that they were based off. The game is absolutely not a parody, as it does not mock the original movies in any way, instead celebrating their plots and making it into a video game. It is also filled with many references to the original movies that fans would understand, which can be seen in this video. This also plays into intertextuality, as these references would be understood by the fans of the original movies who have seen these things appear in the movies, rather than those who have not seen them, and these objects are just completely random. So that was my vlog about postmodernism. Hope you enjoyed.